Good evening, my dears. Batman, say hello. Aha, I don't hear you, Batman. Ah,
Now it should be better.
yeah, now better. Traditionally, we start our broadcast from the sound check. You hear and see us good or no? If good, write pluses in the chat. Sam V, our moderator today, first pluses.
Yep.
It's question not only about me, it's about Batman too.
Yeah, about me as well. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just a little bit out of the blue with this whole stream. As you can see, I'm in a completely different location because I'm out and about doing some stuff. I don't have my regular bus, so I'm in glasses. As silly as it looks, this is how it's gonna be for me today.
uh, Hello everybody, but Michelle Ferguson, I'm not Sasha, I'm Pasha. I'm not Sasha. Pavlo, Paul, not
Sasha,
Sasha. Yeah, just
Sasha.
first
He
comments.
changed his name to Alexander.
Alex.
Oh,
No, I'm not Pasha. Ah, I'm not.
you are Pasha. You're
Yeah,
not Sasha.
yeah, I'm Pasha. I'm not Sasha. Yes, good. Uh, okay, so many pluses is the beautiful. Um As you know, as you see in the description of this broadcast, our topic today is the Kharkiv. What's going on in the Kharkiv? What's going on with the Kharkiv defense? What about Russian offensive in Kharkiv? What about Volchansk, about Strelecha and villages near border? So yeah, in internet, in open source, in the media, we have so many. We have so many news about this. Some media report about Russian success. Some media report about Ukrainian success. But we must looking for uh, one true source, and we must understand that to the last time main enemy of the Ukrainian armed forces, of the defense of Ukraine in the general, is the clickbait media, is the fake media, is the Russian media. Because today, when I'm monitoring information about the situation in the Kharkiv region, uh, I'm find names of the video: Kharkiv surrounded, Volchansk seized by Russian, or Ukrainian destroy one battalion near Volchansk, or something like this. This 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 is clickbait. You can see clickbait in the other channel on YouTube, but when we're talking about media, about government media, about media with the big numbers of the viewers and subscribers, it's the very bad is the is have very bad influence in a general situation, because people who don't know who don't monitoring other sources. He see, for example, video from ICTV, 7th channel, from the I don't know name of the news channel, yeah, and he see this video that we lose Kharkiv yesterday or we occupy Belgorod tomorrow. It's have a very bad influence, because people talking about this uh, between people and people, yes, and after this in our society we have some shit like Batman splетни. Please translate me.
Yeah, basically,
Сплетни.
everybody that.
Сплетни.
Sorry.
Translate сплетни. Чутки. Ah, okay.
Exact.
Uh,
Yeah.
One moment. I will translate it.
Yeah, basically everybody needs to understand that, there's, as always, and especially in
No, rumors.
current
Rumors.
current types of war.
Start. And as result of this shit media, we have rumors between society, and people don't understand what's going on in the real situation. Because when I'm the last time was in Kharkiv, I'm see it is maybe 30 kilometers from the front line. See a real situation. Yeah, I can see splashes on a border from my house building, and then they check some media sources, and I'm see, oh, situation is the very very big shit, and we have no chance. Yeah. But in other media I see that always good, and between local peoples I'm heard only rumors. When Russian is coming, when war will finish, and shit like this is the consequences of the shit media, and it's one of the topic for today.
Yeah, basically, as Pasha just cut me off there, I would just finish up my sentence. So basically, in a modern conflict, you need to take into consideration that there's always a lot of work being put in by psyops, psychological operations, and that doesn't necessarily only take into consideration, having a certain way to influence the opposite fighting side, like i.e. the soldiers, but it's first and foremost to influence the morale, the willingness to support from the civilian population of that country as well. And so yeah, there's a lot of as with any other thing, like we had the same thing with Bakhmut, we had the same thing with Avdiivka. I mean, like it's in each fighting forces in each fighting side's best interest to send a lot of conflicting information to the other side to cause a little bit of a psychological rumpus amongst the population there, and and then as Pasha said, all then it translates into rumors, and like people making hasty decisions, and that's that's one of the topics that I talk about during the lectures that we are currently giving as the One Consumers Foundation to civilians in Poland. That you need to really take into consideration what are your information sources and uh, how good they are in the information that they're giving, and uh, if they are not biased to either of the sides, because it's always you need to take into consideration that every single media outlet has a budget and somebody pays for that budget. And if somebody is paying for that budget, well, they're only going to talk about the side of the story that fits the narrative of that person or organization that pays for that media outlet's budget. Simple as. That's exactly as it is, and it's nothing different here. We hear a lot of different conflicting information. Like on one side that the whole front has collapsed and there's a lot of casualties, and on the other side, well, there's nothing new. Just entered the preparation zone, as it's called, of the defensive line. I mean, like the part where it's like, oh, this maybe should have been organized a little bit better or in a different way. Well, that's a story for military experts, like us military guys. We can talk about the actual. Well, if I were to organize that, would I put the same fortifications, for example, in that same place, knowing how the Russians operate usually, right? But no, it's you need to take into consideration that overall the situation is difficult, but it is stable. Yeah,
Difficult but stable. Стабильно напружено. And so yes,
that's
and
there's a different Russian language saying or Ukrainian language saying, but I'm not gonna tell that.
okay.
It involves a dick word. So.
So yes, and again rumors, and again rumors. As Batman told, when media have a very big influence, and when some media have a different owners, from this owner depends result of works of this media. And couple days ago read it about surrounded Vovchansk, but as a result they occupy only two small villages near border. What I mean, they just go across the border, and closest villages is the automatically occupied. But yeah, now not only media our general problem in the Kharkiv, fortification. Fortification, it's two question who will be interesting, because what we have with our fortification. After the occupation of Kharkiv was occupied 2 years ago, yeah, in the autumn of 2022, if I'm not mistaken, yes. More than 1 year, maybe 2 years, they had for do good fortifications. But as a result, what we have? We have successful offensive and very successful crossing through the Ukrainian and Russian border of the Russian ground forces. Um, and as a result, when we're monitoring situation on the field, what we have at this moment. So, armored for Ministry of Defense and local governments, Kharkiv military administration have a conflict. They looking for victims who do shit. Yes, because Ministry of Defense said that we do all good, we have fortification, we have trenches, blah blah blah, and military administration talking same shit that no, our contracts are good. All guys who do our contracts, who do fortification for the Kharkiv and the districts like Vovchansk, they do all good. But as a result, we have a photo from the drone. Do you see this photo with the teeth of dragon
I mean, like
near
by
tree?
now, I think it's pretty easy to say that a lot of the stuff that has surfaced out because like there's actual people there that are in that area conducting military operations from our side and also from the Russian side. And by now, it's pretty blatant that a lot of the works when it comes to getting these fortifications up and ready were just not done. I mean, like, yeah, I've seen all those photos with piles of dragon teeth that should have been, placed into a nice defensive line, and there should be like an anti-tank trench behind them. There should be minefields in front of them, and in the rear behind that anti-tank trench. I mean, like, and they're only I have viable information right from the exact front line because my guys are there. I mean, like some of you know that I've recently been to Ukraine. I went all the way to the Lyman direction to the city of Lyman, back to my old place where me and my guys fought last year in the Sogransky forest, the Kremina forest, or Lis Chudis as they call it, Les Chudes. My guys were there with the new brigade that they're assigned to now, and as soon as I left, and that was around the 8th, well, on the 10th, this new Kharkiv operation has started, and pretty much overnight, all of my guys were transferred to the Kharkiv region, to that exact location. So they're there. They're not in Volchansk. They're in the other place, so called Lipki, and they know what's there, right? So I have firsthand information about the quality of the fortifications that have been done there, and like there is a lot of negative questions that should be asked now. Why is it done this way? I mean, like, who's responsible? But this conflict between the local military civilian administration and the MOD that you're talking about, yeah, they're concentrating on this rather than rectifying the mishaps and the work that needs to be done, that should have already been done, but it hasn't, right? And I mean, like, I don't even know what to say by now. I mean, like, we're what, way more than 2 years into this conflict, almost 2.5 years into this conflict, and there's still people, like, stealing money from the budget and winning these tenders for these construction works, and they're not doing it. Come on, you know, and some of the information that I'm receiving saying that, oh, like, you can't bring in the equipment so close to the front line, because like it's dangerous because there's going to be shelling. I mean, like, you never build a defensive line exactly on the administrative border of a country if the other country is the enemy, right? It's simply not going to it's simply not going to happen, simply because legitimately that's a very dangerous place, right? But you build your defensive lines in different stages, right? So you have your preparation line, which is 5, 6, 7, sometimes 10, 15 kilometers wide, which actually has very little factual fortifications. It's an area in which you should have tons of minefields and tons of interlocking semi-permanent positions that like can do ambushes and all stuff like that. And only behind that, way outside of the firing range of most like unit level artillery, actually start building a proper defense line, right? And that's not the case here. And there's enough evidence to show that oh, some places have it, but it most certainly just was, just to show, oh, there. So somebody from the government could just go there, like, make a video and say, oh, everything is great, like, this whole great defensive line is here, but that was just one place, and there's like, what, the engagement distance at the moment is 70 kilometers across that area. So yeah.
And yes, and what we have as a result? We have all organization who report that all work is finished, all fortification is finished. But in real situation, what we see in a real situation, we see that we really have anti-tank minefields, because now assault activities from the Russian side is the infantry activities, more infantry as the mid-assault phase now, because it's too difficult for moving to the APC, for APV, for the main battle tanks, because minefield really working. I'm just waiting for Russian engineers when they try to make a door into these minefields, but the first stage of the defense are working. Somebody
Okay,
promised trenches.
I'm just gonna cut you there for a second. Yeah, it's that's the thing. That's again coming back to the thing that, oh, we cannot do anything in that area. Come on,
Somebody,
there's
yeah, yeah. As is the bad idea talking that every is bad, armed force is bad, local government is bad, and I'm talking about second side, about real side. How you explain making trenches from 5 kilometers from the border? For do high quality trenches, you need a excavator, you need
yeah,
tractors. 5 kilometer is nothing, is the mortar distance, and
yeah,
combat activities on a border never stopped. And as you
yeah.
know,
I'm just trying to explain to everybody that like the these proper entrenchments, they're not so close to the border because they cannot be, because in front of the main defense line, where actually, like you have those concrete bunkers, like proper emplacements, like all the trenches are not just dug out earth, they've got wooden supports and everything. That cannot be built so close because you need this standoff line of minefields, ambush locations, and stuff like that in front. So it does. So you have an area in front of these actual proper fortifications, and what we see now is the Russians are moving into that area. Unfortunately, the city of Volchansk, being so close to the Russian border as it is, well, it's sort of caught in the middle of it, right? So that's another question that like, well, maybe it should the
Yes,
people should have just got evacuated from there altogether. Yeah,
for sure,
which most of them have.
and
Which
we
of most of them have.
and we
Yeah,
must understand distance from the Russian border to Volchansk is not more than 6 kilometers with a small buffer,
yeah,
and
yeah.
yes, this
Yeah, you're definitely not going to build proper fortifications with excavators, in that area.
this topic about failed fortification activity, is the very good Russian psychological operations. Yes, and is the successful operations because government start looking for who responds, military command and start looking who responds, but everybody understand they do what's possible to do, yeah. And from this direct, it's not a secret that Russian volunteer corps do his penetration operations from the Ukrainian part of the border. And after this small operation in the Belgorod, Russian border was stronger and stronger and stronger, and it's unreal to do ideally line of the defense. And for me, interesting what will be in the future when Russian comes directly to the city, because from the last Russian success from Avdiivka, we can see that for him, urban operations is nothing. They just totally destroyed city and march forward. Very interesting for me what will be with Volchansk, because now our guys on a defense position uh, successful to defend Vovchansk, but very interesting what will be in future. What will be if this defense line will broke. I mean, defense line not about trenches line as promised government.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
I
You
mean,
need to. So I think we need to
yeah,
differentiate that.
I mean Ukrainian group of soldiers, because very very strong group of soldiers now fighting in the Kharkiv on a Volchansk direct, on a Kupiansk direct, and I think is the very 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 difficult hold territories when Russian reinforcement coming directly from the Russian borders is the unreal. People who now hold in position near Volchansk is the steel people, because uh, we don't talking about supply roads, about logistics. For example, like in a Zaporizhia, in a Donbass, how it was in a Kiev. Russian don't think about logistics. They have direct logistics from the border. They do assault activity from the border. Is the 5 kilometers, and yes, and is the very hot. Is the very hot direct. Is the hell, and I hope that Ukrainian defenders do all what they can do. But I understand that is the very difficult, because if Russian tanks can't come through the minefields, they can just occupy static position and shooting like artillery, and numbers of the uh, Russian cannons and howitzers only increasing, because tanks don't assault in directly. They just are staying and shooting on our positions with a direct logistic from the Russia.
Which they have for the entire period between this incursion and the end of the our counteroffensive in 22. Like it wasn't that we just approached the border and like there was no exchanges across the border. We just didn't push into Russia, right? A lot of people need to understand that right across from Volchansk is a little Russian town called Shebekino that was assaulted and taken for a period of time by the Russian Volunteer Corps, the RDK. That and that's exactly where it happened. Right? So you can see that that border was accessible from both sides as well. Like this was an incursion by us. Then now they're conducting an incursion into our territory. Like labeling it. Oh, this is going to be the encirclement or the taking of the city of Kharkiv. They physically do not have, from all the information that's freely available now, they do not have enough people to assault Kharkiv to actually take the city, right? They could try to encircle it, but still that's not enough forces that they have over there, right? The thing that they're achieving now is they're drawing some of the Ukrainian reserves and other units from different locations. They're drawing them to this new 70 kilometer wide front line that was more or less stable for the last year and a half, and that's the only thing that they're achieving. But there's no major breakthroughs. They've just entered the let's call it the gray zone between two dug in forces. And unfortunately, the city of Ovchansk and several other smaller villages are in that gray zone, and they've just been taken simply because they are in the gray zone. And a lot of the times, the gray zone is not really contested.
Uh,
It's, as I said, this is the the preparation field of a proper defense line, where you have minefields first and foremost, things that channel the enemy into a certain position. Like there's a lot of stuff that allows you to make ambushes. Like and there's emplacements. The only emplacements there are there to make sure that the sappers that are trying to get those mines out for the tanks, they can get destroyed as well. And of course, we've got all the FPVs, the reconnaissance drones working there, and there's more bigger drones. We've got the bombing drones as well, like the Mizets, like the Vampire. These are newer designs, bigger designs that are capable of carrying several pieces of ordnance, unlike the Mavic that can only take one. Yeah.
yeah.
And yeah, this is simply they are contesting. We are contesting the city of Vovchansk because it's a city, right? And Ukraine doesn't want to really give up a city-size urban environment. But unfortunately, it's in the gray zone, right? So there physically was very little that could have been done outside of the city to really protect it from any incursion from the Russian side, simply because it was so close to the actual borderline.
Gray Zone, it's the song's good. But if we talk about Gray Zone on a Russian territory, because every kilometer more close to the Kharkiv, it's more dangerous for the Kharkiv. Because now, for example, Russian forces have success in the Глибоке village, and I'm just a check map. Now check map, and from the Глибоке to the center of Kharkiv is a 32 kilometer, plus minus 5 kilometer safety distance for the artillery is the 40 kilometers. 37 is the Smerch, is the Uragan. They can use MLRS for the shooting on the Kharkiv territory. Not only Shaheds, not only ballistics missile, they can use artillery. is the very dangerous because we can't control this. We can't do something with artillery, and no one of the air alarm don't alert people about artillery fire. Every kilometers of the gray zone, red Russian zone on the Ukrainian territory in the Kharkiv region is the very, very sad consequences for the Kharkiv. And yes, best,
Yeah, I
be-
mean, like the main task for the Ukrainian side at the moment would first and foremost not allow the Russians to penetrate deep enough so they could actually start shelling indiscriminately shelling the city of Kharkiv with regular artillery. I mean, like some MLRS systems, as you've said, the Uragan and the Smerch, they're already in range, but they've always been because they can be freely fired from the Russian border, from behind the Russian border, and still have enough range to hit Kharkiv. But the even bigger problems would start if we would have the Russians some 20 and less than 20 kilometers away from Kharkiv, and the city would start being shelled with regular artillery. That would be a problem. I mean, like I've experienced it firsthand in the beginning of the war when the Russians were right outside of Kharkiv, and I was doing evacuations from Saltovka and then from HTZ and the industrial district in the southeastern side of the city. And were caught up in an artillery barrage more than once during that. And yeah, and that's indiscriminate. That hits everything and everybody. It's not a targeted operation. It's just leveling down the entire district that they can hit, and they shoot indiscriminately. And we've seen that pretty much everywhere. Every single battle that was anywhere close to an urban area. I mean, like back in May 20, well, not May, more like June 22, all the way until the counteroffensive in September, the city of Slovansk that we were operating from at that time was within artillery strike distance, and we were shelled every single day. We had one possession around the city that took cassettes minimum 4 times a day, every single day, right? Because it was on an access route towards Izium, right? So yeah, it's just the closer you need to understand. The closer the front is, the more types of artillery the enemy can employ simply because you're in range of them. And the main idea now and the main task would be to block the Russians far enough so they have a limited stock of artillery systems that they can indiscriminately hit Kharkiv with.
and what we can do, we must just pray and do what's possible for the push back Russian from the Ukrainian border, and is the only one way to the plus minus uh, quietly live, plus minus quietly live in the Kharkiv without artillery shillings. So yes, my dears, and I'm reminded if you wanna support our channel and our project, you can see our PayPal and our Buy Me a Coffee under my face on your screen and in the description of this broadcast. And yeah, I'm just check comments, and Elizabeth writing that 50,000 Russians will never take a city of 1.5 million people. They will not take, I want to discuss this question. It's a very interesting question. They will not take this city. As you see, last Russian tactics is the surrounded city, is the half surrounded, and it will be enough for the pushback forces for the making last defense, as we can say, for this. And they just do half surrounded, They can use his assault aviation, they can use his helicopters, bombers, and they just will destroy this city. Russian will not go for the assaulting and seizing city. They will not do this. They analyze his mistake, what they do in the Bakhmut, what they do in the Severodonetsk, in Rubizhne, in the other city, and they will not do this again. Uh, Experience of Avdiivka show for us that they just will destroy city, and that's all. And for example, as we see situation in the Chasiv Yar, Russia now not in a Chasiv Yar. Uh, they fight now in the small villages near Chasiv Yar. In the real situation, it's not villages. In the real situation, Ukrainian position in the fields, in a small forest, pasatka, as we say in Ukraine, and for example, in this situation, when we have infantry fights, infantry contacts on the field, using aviation is a little useful because useless because CAB is the controlled area bombs. It's more useful for the city, for the villages, with the buildings, with the infrastructures. But when we fight in the open territory, we have more biggest changes to hold this territory because Russian have no chance, have no way, only assault, 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 and moving more close to the big city. In a Kharkiv will be same shit. I know 100% will be same shit. They do half surrounded like in Avdiivka, and just will bombing this city. They just will bombing Kharkiv. Is the panic? Is the defense position on the Kharkiv districts not on a field because the Russian can push and they do it very successfully because they have uh, very big numbers of the infantry and the soldiers for him is nothing. If Russian commanders say go forward, they will go forward, or Russian officers kill these soldiers, and I think they very successfully will do half surrounded if they will have if they agree plan for half surround this. And doesn't matter how many people living in a Kharkiv, because Russian just start destroying this city. And against avia bombs from the jets, you can't do something. Is the very horrible weapon, and this doesn't matter how many people living in a Kharkiv, they just will destroy it.
Yeah. See, that's the typical tactic that we actually see in the for a while now, really. That they just completely level every single building, and then the only thing that they take are ruins that are simply just untenable to hold. They just bomb indiscriminately, bomb and destroy the entire urban area until there's not a single stone left unturned. Yeah, as Pasha said, this is pretty much the tactic. I mean, like it's just a number. Some people say 35,000. Some people say upward of 50,000. That's way too little to actually storm a city the size of Kharkiv. You need to take into consideration that all books and practice says that if you want to conduct an assault operation in an urban area, for that to be successful, you need to have an advantage in manpower of at least 10 to 1. That would mean that with 50,000, if they were only all engaged in the storming of Kharkiv, there should be no more than 5,000 defenders of Kharkiv, and we know there's going to be much more than that. Right? There's already several units that are over there in that area, and I can assure you that there's. Well, I'm not going to give out the number. Sure that there's much more Ukrainians in that area at the moment than the Russians have the capacity to overcome with whatever they have gathered for that operation. Um, they can try to encircle it, as I've said, because the territory over there is somewhat problematic to effectively defend. And four battles of Kharkiv haven't come from anything. Like that city is encircleable from both sides, from either from the west and from the east. It's you can there are ways and pathways, and the Landschaft, as they call it in Germany, it tends not to change over very short time periods. You're not going to have a set of hills just move away or a river just go away just like that. Again, there are some features around Kharkiv that make it a little bit easier to try to encircle the city from both sides, actually. And Kharkiv has historically been a very, very contested city for in the last few wars that actually saw action around that city. That's why it's the case. But I think that it's as I've said in the beginning, it's the situation is difficult, but it is stable. There is no major breakthroughs. Like we don't see the Ukrainians losing a lot of ground every day. Like it's not that the Russians have punched through and they have an open highway to the center of the city of Kharkiv. That's exactly not the case, and we are very, very, very far away from that to be the case. Of course, yes, we do have to admit that they have a lot of manpower, like 35,000, 50,000, whatever it is. It's still something to be reckoned with. But then there's a very, very high increase in the amount of combat drones that are being used. So they've probably, like just every other part of the front chipped in for that specific assault. And like Mouse, my second in command from the old unit, he's there now, and unfortunately his car is trashed because he broke the torsion bar trying to escape an FPV. He's got a little bit of an electronic warning system on it, and when he was going to the positions, it turned out that there was an FPV combat drone, Russian FPV combat drone, heading straight for him. So he just let it rip, and unfortunately on those roads he totally broken the torsion bar. So unfortunately his car is now out of action, and I don't know if it's feasible to get it repaired, because it took him a year and a half to get it repaired, because it's a Chinese truck that was donated to him, and there's absolutely no spare parts for Chinese trucks in Ukraine, as you might probably realize. But anyway, as I said, the situation is stable. The Russians are moving into the gray zone, right, where this is something completely normal,
Gray
right?
zone.
There's no breakthrough through a defensive line. They're not even engaging the defensive line at the moment, right? We have to be very clear, right?
And
The
I,
defenses should have been made a little bit better. That's a thing for somebody else to actually figure out why they're not made the way they should be, right? But that's not for us to discuss, right? This is something that the Ukrainian security services and or the counter corruption services, they should sort that out, right? Our most important thing that we concentrate on is the support for the guys that are fighting at the front. And as these are my guys, exactly my team, my unit, I do everything that I can to help them as much as finances and my time provides. And thanks to the donations that all of you have given us in the last few weeks, I was able to go to Ukraine, meet my guys, bring them some extra stuff that they needed that they, for example, couldn't source out in Ukraine. They needed to get it from Europe. I organized that and I took it over there to give it to them. So very big thank you for your continuous support. And yeah, don't forget to continue supporting us if you have the possibility and the capacity to do that. It's very appreciated, and we're still doing as much as we physically can to make sure that our guys on the front line get whatever they need to make sure that they see this whole thing through.
Separate
There.
separate thanks for OZT for few coffee. What's you buy for us? And yeah, Batman 1 week ago had a second anniversary when he joined to the Ukrainian defenders. Yeah, 2 years, 2 years after you joined to the Ukrainian army, if we can
Yeah,
name this.
it was the reason for the reason for the visit for my trip to Ukraine was
So
twofold. I
we
was
can
just
we can say that you joined in our army because you had no salary and no
yeah
green book.
it's a 2 year anniversary of me uh, mm, joining the combat. Let's call it that. Yeah,
Joining to the defense of Ukraine, not in
yeah.
army.
My joining of the defense of Ukraine. Yeah,
I
because I was as pretty much most of you know by now, I never had a contract simply because legally that was not possible with the type of unit that I was attached to. You know, like I was not paid. I didn't receive a rank. I got some medals, but you know that was pretty much that was pretty much it when it comes to the gratifications that I could receive from the Ukrainian side. So I was, you know, like pretty much when I've ended in August last year, I was very high and dry when it comes to money because I've invested a lot,
as
and
the
most of
hard
that
fate of
was for my
volunteer.
personal.
Is the
Sorry.
hard fate of volunteer. You are joined to the
Yeah, I was an unpaid volunteer fighter.
yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I call them. Yeah.
You know,
You can't call me that. That's another thing. You know, like legally speaking, I can't even be called a mercenary
I'm not talking.
because I
I'm
was
not.
not paid.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
very funny. I'm not talking about salary, about green book, about something like this. So funny. If you die on a combat field, but you just a volunteers, 80% chance that your body will be on those fields because you're not
Oh, don't,
counted in a
bro, don't forget that with my tattoos, I wouldn't even be considered to be taken as a POW as well, right? So yeah,
Russian just feed your
I
body.
always had a grenade on me that was for myself,
Ru-
right? So I knew exactly.
Russian
So, but
just feed your
there was
body.
a yeah, there was a yeah. Oh, they would definitely take a video of my body. They would always with all my Scandinavian tattoos and everything. They would be out there calling me a Nazi and everything, right? But tell you what, I know an exact, very popular, you know, like already in pop culture way of calling who I actually was, right? Because this is a thing in the West and in NATO. When when we were helping somebody overthrowing their government, we called them freedom fighters, right? And when we invaded someone and they were fighting against us, they were terrorists, right? So I'm a fully fledged freedom fighter, and I've got a freedom cap to prove it. There you go. I'm
Uh,
a 100% freedom fighter.
I think you know. Do, I don't stop topic about your body. I think your body will go to the museum of the Ramzan Kadyrov in Chechnya. They just marked Polish flag and name it
Yeah.
body of the Polish
The
Scandinavian
Polish mercenary, one of the
Nazi killer
5,000 Polish
mercenary.
mercenaries that took Liman in September 2022.
CIA,
You know, like
FBI.
that was a good psyop. That was a good psyop. The guys were like calling me up because I was in during some one part of that operation because I took part in some of that operation. On one part of that operation, the closing stages, I was in Kiev doing some training. I was pulled back to do some training, and and the guys are calling me up. Listen, there's a Russian psyop, right? Legitimate Russian psyop going around that the city of Lyman fell because there were 5,000 Polish mercenaries in the area. I go like, well, I don't know. I know of only one, and then you're not paying me, so I'm not considered mercenaries. Yeah, fun times, fun times.
Not the FBI, CIA
Oh
mercenaries,
yeah, oh yeah.
American
The,
agents who kill children on Donbass. I'm
oh
just,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sure, sure,
I'm
sure.
just,
I mean, like, don't forget we're the National Guard, and the nickname for National Guard soldiers in Ukraine is Nazis.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Based
yeah,
war
we're Nazis. I mean, like, I do admit it. I am a Nazi.
for the Russian,
For all for all intents and purposes, I am a
for the Russian based word of the National
yeah,
Guard, it's Nazi Guard, Nazist Guard, not
yeah,
nation,
not the
but
National
Nazi.
Guard. We're the Nazis Guard. Oh yeah.
Yes, it's the funny, it's very funny because now we can understand how Russian people stupid, uh, why they can't believe that just a civilized world come in Ukraine for fight against the fucking Russian world against shit world. They think that all who come in Ukraine for fight for the freedom of Ukraine and for the Europe freedom, for the world freedom, I don't know. They are mercenaries. Why they so stupid? Ah, no, it's the bad question. I know why they're so stupid, but it's the funny. 100 million nation is like a it's just a
They live in the pile of shit that they've made themselves,
yeah.
pretty much.
It's because
I mean,
communism.
like, I don't know, have you been to Russia ever?
Nah,
I
nah,
mean, like,
never. Nah.
you've never been to Russia.
If
Okay, so
if we think that Irpin under occupation it was Russia, yes, I he was in
yeah, I mean,
Russia.
like, yeah, yeah, no, but Russia proper in
No, no,
Eastern,
no. True
right?
Russia. No, no.
So I've been to Russia in my life twice. Once in 2008 and once in 2012. And believe me, the only places that actually have civilization is the major cities. You literally go outside of the major cities, and the villages, they're trash. They're absolutely trash, right? There's no working sewage, and they don't even want sewage, right? The reason why you have this tiny booth of a toilet in your garden is because, oh, I will not take a dump where I live and eat. I'm happy that my toilet is in the garden.
It's good if this toilet in the garden, but sometimes they have bucket in his room for doing
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, 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 and they're all alcoholics. They're like, oh, they drink as crazy, all of them.
Because vodka more cheapest than milk.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, my
I'm not.
dears.
I'm not gonna say that the Ukrainians don't drink like crazy because, yeah, I mean, like, we're not going to only be supporting one
No,
side, right?
no.
And Ukrainians know how to drink, believe me.
No. In Ukraine, vodka more expensive than the milk. Vodka is
Unless it's Polish milk that was stolen from humanitarian help,
Polish milk. Ah,
then it's
nah. It's the shit. It's the shit. Because I'm buy Polish milk in 2019 and Yavoriv Polygon in the Starichi, and
yeah,
Polish milk was cheapest than Ukrainian because I'm
yeah.
understand that
Out of nowhere,
that
out of nowhere.
smugglers
Yeah,
just come
yeah.
with this milk in Ukraine. I know how it's expensive, but
Yeah.
smugglers
Yeah, I
milk
mean,
more
like, this
cheapest
is
than in
this is
Ukraine.
this is going to stay with me. This is going to stay with me for the rest of my life. It was the 9th of May 2022. I arrived in Slovansk, and within literally 15 minutes of my arrival, I was already going out for a first combat operation, trying to evacuate members of our drone team that got stuck because their car got fucked up, right? So we had to evacuate them. We had to sort out a team, and I was the only guy with a car that was available. So well, here's an AK and get dressed and let's go, right? Do we at least know where we're going, right? What's the situation? Any briefing or anything? Like, no, everything's gonna be fine. Just go there. You go there. So on the way back from that operation, which was successful, it was the first combat towing that I ever did in my life. Think about it. Come to think about it, yeah, first combat towing in my life. But going back from that we stopped at a store, and at that time, in the whole city of Slovensk, there was only one store open, right? Only one, right? And I walk in there, and you need to understand that the city of Slovensk is what, about 1,300 kilometers, or like 900 miles away from the Polish border, right? And you go into the store and you see that in a city under siege, the Polish milk that you, as a Polish citizen, most likely buy every other day is cheaper than in your home country. And I'm like, how does this
Po-
work?
Polish milk is the separate meme in Ukraine, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
is
like
the
it's
is
I mean, like you obviously love Polish milk.
is that diversants Polish farmers who smuggle Polish milk in Ukraine for destroying Ukrainian farmers. then
Ah,
they give it
no,
for free. The farmers' war. Uh,
it's a farmers' war. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's not our busy. It's his busy now.
yeah.
Don't
I'm
touch
gonna disappear for a second.
don't touch my cow. Don't touch my grain, please.
Yeah, yeah.
My
I'm gonna
my.
disappear for a second. I need to sort something out. I'm gonna be back in a few minutes. You can continue on without me.
I think that we will finish our broadcast because midnight in Ukraine, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope
We can
that
do that.
I am not promised, but I hope that I will organize a next broadcast tomorrow or after tomorrow. I will try to do it more often. We will talking about more biggest numbers of the topic, discuss more shit, but I hope that I will make broadcasts with the Batman often and often. Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks.
basically. Thank you very much for attending this broadcast. I know it was only an hour. We usually do, you know, we do it later today than we usually did, uh, simply because of the blackouts that are happening for Pasha.
Ah, yeah, blackouts. Don't
And
forget
I'm
that blackout so
I'm
soon.
yeah, no blackout today, so that's good. So we could be online. As you can see, I'm out and about doing some stuff. So I know I promised an online version for everybody for the Get Ready for War for Civilians course. I'm still working on that. I mean, like I was in Ukraine for over 10 or for 12 days, so I couldn't get anything with that done. I know I promised to get it done. I should be wrapping this whole thing within the next few weeks. And if you're in Poland and you would be interested in joining one of our stationary classes for the Get Ready for War course, the in case of war, that's what we call it, in case of W, you can come and join us at any of the locations that we do the courses across the whole of the country. Very big thank you to the people that have already joined. I mean, like the assessment of the course is already there. You can read. The people that have already attended are very happy. And tomorrow I'm in the city of Krakow doing another course in the city of Krakow. And yeah, thank you very much once again for attending. Love to see you. Love to see your comments. And don't forget subscribe also to our Instagram. If you're still not subscribed to our Instagram, that's winkhusars_org, O-R-G. Yeah, follow, subscribe, and don't forget to see us on the next broadcast.
Thanks for your attention. Thanks for all who support us, who don't know platforms for supporting under my face and in a description of the broadcast. Thanks that you was with us. See ya later, my dears.